Hare Krishna. This is Goloka Last video. This is after part 2. Okay, so in part 1 we saw how the Devatas entered the 8 gates. In Goloka, totally there are 16 gates, and in part 1 we saw Devatas entered 8 gates, and in part 2 we saw the remaining 8 gates, and in part 2 it ended like they saw the mass of luster, great light, very big light, shining light. So, in this video, behind the light, they saw Radha and Krishna, and the discussion about the Krishna avatara happened. So, where Radha should be born, where Krishna should be born, where Gopas and Gopis should be born. So, all this discussion went on in this meeting between Radha Krishna and Devatas. So, that's the main purpose of their visit to Goloka. So, that will be discussed here. So, what we have to understand is from Goloka, Krishna descended to earth and avatar happened. This is what we learned from this chapter 6 of Brahma Vaivarta Purana, Krishna Janma Kanta. Okay, in the previous video, in part 2, we saw even Radha's abode, how beautiful the gopis were. From gate 12, it's only gopis domination. There were millions and millions of gopis from gate 12. We saw all that. And gate 16 was Radha's abode. In Radha's abode, they were standing and they saw the mass of luster near the throne, near the lion's simhasana. That is, simhasana means lion's throne. Okay, so now we will go inside this chapter 6 of Brahma Vaivarta Purana. This is the last video I am again repeating. So let's go into it. Standing before the mass of luster, Devatas offered their prayers, and they found a human body inside the luster, which was having the complexion of the clouds filled with water. So we all know that Krishna's complexion was like the clouds filled with water during rainy season, and he was wearing a serene smile. Even Radha was wearing a serene smile on her face, and Radha was looking at Krishna, and they both were looking so charming, blissful, and they could attract the entire world. And Krishna was wearing Makara Kuntala, and he was wearing a beautiful anklet on his beautiful lotus feet, and he was pure like the fire, and he was clad in yellow garment. He was wearing the beautiful ornaments studded with gems and rubies, and he was holding a flute, and his lips were like ripe bimba fruit. Bimba fruit means ivy god fruit. And he was looking at the gods with an understanding that why their visit to Goloka is. And he was anxious to do good to his devotees. He was ready to do something to his devotees, because Devatas, they will only plead for some avatar. So Krishna understood their visit purpose, and he had a wise chest, and he was wearing a Kaustuba gem, which was illuminating the entire environment. And Devatas also found Radha with a beautiful figure, and she was looking at Krishna, which we already saw, and she had the line of teeth which could put even the jewels to shame. She was pleasantly smiling, her eyes resembled the lotus flowers of winter season, and her face was shining like a winter moon. Winter moon shines more than the summer moon. It is said that the moon shines better in winter. so it was always compared to winter moon. And she had beautiful lips which could even steal the beauty of the flowers. She was wearing a anklet which produced the dangling sound, and she had beautiful nails which were shining like the gems, and the soles of her feet were tainted with saffron, and it was emitting beautiful shine. She was wearing the waistband which was made of the best of gems, and her hip was looking so thin. She had the element of having been clad in the fine and valuable garment purified by fire. Her tinkling ornament was studded with the best of gems, and she was also wearing the garland of gems along with garland of flowers. And the gem-studded kundalas worn in the ears added to her glory. She was also wearing beautiful kundalas. So we learnt that Krishna was wearing Makara Kundala. There was a story behind that. Makara means fish. Okay, so we say Makara Rasi. Makara Rasi means in zodiac sign we say Makara Rasi. Makara Rasi means fish sign. And um, there is a story in related to Pandharpur. There is a pilgrimage site in Maharashtra, that is in Pandharpur in Maharashtra. This Makara Kundala story happened, and Krishna was wearing that, which is telling that that story is true. Okay, that we will not go into it. So, one fisherwoman offered the fish, and Krishna was wearing that ornament. That is the story. Small. I just cut short it. Now she was even wearing the garland of parijata flowers, and her costumes were quite grateful. The fingers of her hands were decorated with gem-studded finger rings. She also wore the best of the ornaments of the conches, which were strung in the silken cord. She was clad in molten gold colored garments. Krishna was clad in yellow garment, and Radha was clad in molten gold. So now Brahma, Shiva, and Yama are praising the Lord for the continuous devotional service. So it started like this: Brahma Uvacha and Brahma's praise, Shiva Uvacha, Shiva's praise, and Yama Uvacha, Yama's praise. Like this, it's mentioned. So, on hearing the praise of the gods, the compassionate Lord Krishna, with a smiling face, spoken to them the beneficial words, the following words. So, these are the most powerful words told by Krishna, and the words which will give us so much of confidence. So, he is saying, I appear in person only after salutation, and I am quite well aware of the purpose of your arrival here. And he said, one gets the reward of good and bad deeds at the appropriate time. You need to wait for the right time. And at proper time they bear fruits, and at proper time they have unripe fruits. The pleasure, pain, misery, wealth, grief, worries, good and bad appear before a person according to the result of his own deeds at suitable times. So, whatever you are experiencing, or because of your own deeds in your previous karma. In fact, there is no one liked or hated in the universe. It happens according to time that the unliked person is also liked. So sometimes you hate some person, but after some time you may like that person because they may change over time. So this is what Krishna said to the Devatas. And the moment you have spent in the Goloka presently during the same period on the earth, 7 manvantaras have elapsed. 7 Indras have spent their times, and currently the 8th Indra is in position. So this is what Krishna said. So about manvantaras, about kalpas, All this I have explained in separate video. I will attach it at the end of the video and also in the description here. So how much ever little time they are spending in Goloka, Krishna said the 7 month 1 month have elapsed in earth. Okay, now time is present even at the moment. So with my command the wind always blows, the fire burns, and the sun emits the heat. So everything is because Krishna is commanding, so all are happening. And he is saying, the ailments appear in the bodies at my command. So whatever pain you are experiencing is also because of Krishna's command. So even the death is influencing all the humans and animals because of his command. The clouds are pouring rain at his command. And the most interesting and the most likable sentence is, I like this sentence so much. He said, who can protect the creatures who are to be killed by me? Who could protect the creatures who are to be destroyed by me? But I am unable to destroy the devotees who have achieved the eternal body. We all know that devotees attain the eternal body and he cannot destroy the devotees because he is bound to his devotees. The devotees always remain engaged in the adoration of my feet. Therefore, they follow me and I always remain with them for their protection. And he said, in the universe, everything gets destroyed again and again, re emerging at the same time. In that video, which I told, right, about Kalpas, I have explained. So, in that video, I even explained how many times this yugas will get repeated, Brahma's age, everything. So, he is saying the same here. And he also said, my devotees never get destroyed, but he remains hale and hearty and freely roam about in the universe. Therefore, all the beings should aspire for achieving my slavehood, that is dasya bhav. So everybody should have dasya bhav and they do not aspire for any other boon. So the only thing Krishna is expecting us to aspire for is only his slavehood. He is saying, when you achieve slavehood, it means you have achieved all types of muktis in the world. He said, graceful are the persons who aspired for my slavehood and other people are deprived of it. So Krishna says, those who are having this dasya bhav are graceful and others are not graceful. So the birth, death, old age, ailment, fear and torture of Yama are meant for other people and not for my devotees. So all these things, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, the fear, all this are only for non-devotees and not for Krishna's devotees. So Krishna said even in Bhagavad Gita, Janma, Mrityu, Jara. Janma means birth, Mrityu means death, Jara means old age, Vyadhi means disease. So these four things are the main problem of all living beings. So he said, because my devotees get never involved in sinful ways and my devotees always engage themselves in good deeds, and as such I surely destroy the result of their deeds, and I happen to be the life of the devotees who daily meditate upon me while I myself recite their name daily. So he said Krishna always recite their devotees' name and he destroys all their karmas. That is what he is trying to simply say. And the main important thing, the 16th spoke of Sudarshana Chakra, that is the 1/16th of its luster can destroy the entire universe. So in Sudarshana Chakra there are 16 spikes. So he said the 1/16th of its luster is enough to destroy the entire universe. But I myself go personally to save my devotees. I don't even send my Sudarshana Chakra. He said he is satisfied in this way by personally going and helping. And he said, Radha is so dear to me. She is always on my chest. And my devotees are even dearer than Lakshmi, he's saying. And he said, whatever you are offering, if you offer it with love, I accept it. Whereas if you offer it without love, and only Bali is consuming, I am not consuming. So you make sure you are offering with love. Devotees generally don't care for their family and they spend their time totally dedicated to me. So, therefore, leaving you all, I adore such of my devotees. Leaving you all means he is telling all this to Devatas who crossed the 16 gates and saw Radha and Krishna. If anyone troubles my devotees, Brahmanas, cows, yajnas, and Devatas, they get destroyed like the straw in the fire. If you put a straw in the fire, it will quickly get destroyed like that. This wicked people who are troubling this yajnas, devatas, cows, brahmanas, devotees will get destroyed very quickly. They cannot be protected by anyone till I am there. So therefore, O gods, I shall incarnate on earth, but all of you should return to your respective abodes. So Krishna is commanding, all of you go back to your respective abodes. I will incarnate on earth. They didn't even ask. Since Krishna is Paramatma, he knows everything. So he said, I will incarnate on earth as Krishna. I will incarnate on earth from my Goloka. Having spoken to the gods, the Lord of the universe called for the Gopas and Gopis, cowherds and cowherdesses, and talked to them appropriately according to the time. He said, you need to listen to me. You go to Vraja on earth, that is Vrindavana on earth, and O Radha, you proceed to the abode of Vrishabhanu. We all know that Radha is Vrishabhanu's daughter. In Radhashtami video, I explained Radha's birth. So he's telling who should be born where. And everything you know in Mahabharata, you must have seen everything. So, how Vrishabhanu found Radha in beautiful lotus flower, and how Krishna was born, how he got transferred, how he played with gopis, everything was well planned in Goloka in this meeting. Everything was well planned and then it happened. So, we cannot explain the entire Mahabharatam here. That is what they discussed in Goloka. So, this is ending. This Goloka series is ending here. So we learnt that why we are chanting 16 rounds in ISKCON, right? 16 malas. That is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This mantra is chanted. One mala is 108 times, so we do 16 malas. 16 multiplied by 108 times. So because there are 16 doors to see Radha and Krishna, you need to cross 16 doors. That's why. Hare Krishna.